And now for the latest on the Trump campaign, let's bring in Jake Rosen. So, Jake, this is kind of interesting. Former President Trump releasing a new book today. It's called Save America. What can you tell us about this book? What's it about?
Well, that's right, Anne-Marie. Thanks for having me. It's one of those commercial things that Donald Trump consistently has a part of, like Trump sneakers or the Trump NFTs that we saw. It's a book that the former president signed some copies of and includes some new passages on his experience in Butler, in addition to some pictures that Trump had while he was still in the White House of world leaders like Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin. Donald Trump also targets people like Mark Zuckerberg in that book as part of his pledge in the later parts of that book on what he would do in the 2024, if he wins in 2024.
On Sunday, Donald Trump spoke to Fox News, and this is the quote, part of the quote, right, that he said, which was that he had the right to interfere with the 2020 election. I want to play some of the sound, and we'll talk about what he said afterwards.
It's so crazy that my poll numbers go up. Whoever heard you get indicted for interfering with a presidential election where you have every right to do it? You get indicted and your poll numbers go up.
So listen, I can't figure out if this is I'm gonna just call it weird, even though I shouldn't probably, because the other party has taken over that. But this Trump speak that is very sort of sloppy and imprecise, and I can't figure out if he's saying he had a right to interfere or he had a right to look into the election, and now they're accusing me of interference. Either way, this can't play well for him.
Right, and this just continues kind of how Donald Trump continues to talk about the results of the 2020 election, 2016 election, and as there has been a little bit of this bubbling up of that going into the fall in November, as some allies in states across the country like Michigan and Georgia and Arizona are already casting doubt on the results and validity of the 2024 election, Donald Trump has continued to kind of talk about that he did have this right to push people like in Georgia to look into these election results, that infamous phone call that we know all about 4 years later. We'll have to see exactly how Donald Trump tweaks his language going forward. But again, just something to be aware of, like you say, that Donald Trump continues to claim that he has a right to look into these kinds of things, even though eventually on January 6th and January 20th, whoever wins the election in November will take office in the White House.
Absolutely. And certainly the way he looked into the election has gotten him in trouble with, gotten him charged anyways. So let's talk a little bit more about this. He's going to be returning to North Carolina and Wisconsin later on this week. How's he attempting to appeal to voters there?
Well, that's right. Donald Trump is back in North Carolina for the first time since he had his first outdoor rally after that Butler assassination attempt. Trump will be speaking to the Fraternal Order of Police in their national conference. Obviously, Trump has the law enforcement vote. He's trying to double down and make sure that he speaks to his base, which are law enforcement members. And then after that, he'll be in Wisconsin, where he will give a full rally and address to the crowd after last week's shortened town hall where he spoke with Tulsi Gabbard and a couple, quote, undecided voters about what they wanted to hear from him in his second term.
All right, Jake, thank you.